Hello everyone, welcome to From the Star Wars Home Video Library. I'm your host, Nathan P. Butler, author of a saga on home video, and relatively recently, we looked at what was one of the coolest releases of The Force Awakens around the world. This is something that was exclusive to China, that had exclusive steelbooks that were then packaged within different types of slipcovers, which are then all put together into a large box, the so-called one-click Blufans box, again, exclusive to China, for The Force Awakens. This is what we looked at. And it was pretty sweet. Looks pretty nice, especially up there on the shelves. If you've watched any of my recent videos, lately it's been sitting up there next to that Japanese Movie Next Premium Limited Box Edition of The Force Awakens. But there's actually something that tops this in terms of how cool it looks, and actually has similar packaging for another recent Star Wars release. That's right, this time we are finally taking a look at the Chinese Blufans one-click box set for Rogue One. And like that, poof, it's back up there. So let's take a look real quick again to remind ourselves of what the Rogue One home video releases tended to look like in the US and outside the US. Particularly focusing in on things like disc labels, what they included, and what the traditional, usual packaging actually looked like. This was the standard release of Rogue One in the United States. Notice here that this artwork, which is also used in other regions around the world as well, is artwork that basically sort of forms maybe you could call it sort of a tower, or a triangle, a pyramid of the characters, right? We've got a few here on the bottom, then sort of a next layer, then Jyn up at the top, all kind of triangular with that background here. As for what was inside, the typical Rogue One release, aside from having a digital code in the US, which was not present in some other regions, the film was on a disc with the stormtroopers there on the Scarif Beach. We then had a bonus disc that had the director, Gareth Edwards, doing the shot of Jyn as she's ducking behind the wall there with her blaster. And then if you had a DVD copy, the DVD copy was Cassian and Jyn there undercover. There was also a standard DVD cover, which was this, right? So you have the team there on the beach with Vader and the Death Star behind them. If you went to Target in the US, you could get that special version that also had the 3D disc in it and some changeable covers. The pertinent parts of this are the art cards here of Jyn, Cassian and K2SO, Baze and Chirrut, Krennic with a couple Death Troopers, and Saw and Bodhi. Along with noting what the 3D disc looked like, which was this, sort of red there with Vader. We also saw that in the US and in the UK as well, there were some Steelbook versions. These are basically the typical WWA Steelbooks, Worldwide Art Steelbooks. In this case, though, with English on it. For Rogue One there, English text on the side. Essentially, this is what the UK one looked like as well, except the colors were not quite as sharp, but otherwise, essentially the same thing. We also looked at the Rogue One Premium Limited Box set from Movie Next over in Japan, and when we looked at this, we saw the Japanese Steelbook. It was, again, the worldwide art, except being in Japan, it did not have English text on it. But still, the worldwide art is the Death Troopers on one side, the Stormtroopers on the other, maybe some text, maybe not, and if you're not going to have English text on the spine, you're looking at character portraits on the spine. And poof, that one's back up there too. Now it looks all nice again. Now what you may recall from that episode that we did on The Force Awakens one-click Blufan set was that basically you had a WEA, World Exclusive Art Steelbook, so a steelbook that looked different than anywhere else, and that steelbook showed up in the set 3 times, each time with a different slipcover. Double lenticular, single lenticular, and a regular full slipcover that was a little bit embossed and kind of odd. Each of those came with something interesting inside aside from just the steelbook, and then the package itself had something else to go with it, art-wise, packed inside. All inside that nice box with that slightly magnetic folding cover. Well, I'm happy to say that when it comes to Rogue One, you have a package that's very similar, but from an art standpoint, I think they've really outdone themselves. Certainly, this is a much better product in terms of the look than what we got with The Force Awakens. The Force Awakens one looks pretty sweet, but remember, just lightsabers on the sides, and the front of it is just the logo there for Star Wars The Force Awakens. So how would they do it with Rogue One? With more style. Perhaps they went from a traditional Rebel to going with a Lando style because it is pretty nice looking. So without further ado, what are we looking at? We are looking at the Rogue One one-click box set from China. This is the Blufans package here. Notice there, different artwork than we're used to. We got Rogue One down here, slightly embossed in gold. This is not embossed up here, but you've got Jyn, Cassian, Krennic, little teeny tiny Krennic, Baze, Chirrut, a TIE Fighter, Imperial Star Destroyer. Got some walkers down here, Death Troopers running forward, and then you've got the Vader helmet that's kind of behind everything and off to the side there. Okay. The top, nothing. The bottom, nothing. The side that's not the flap, kind of a gold Lucasfilm logo, which, yes, is a little bit embossed. And then you have your Rebel symbol here. The other side, same thing, but this is where the flap is going to be. The back has Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, again, here with that embossed gold. This is going to be the flap that opens it up. You have your cast crew information at the bottom, and then here you've got your image there with Cassian, with Baze, with Krennic, with Saw, Bodhi, Chirrut, Jyn, and K2SO, with the X-Wings flying underneath, which may look a little bit familiar to you. That's probably because while it's not the same artwork, it kind of has a design similar to the UK exclusive slipcover version, in that it does have the design of the X-Wings pointing downward. But no, this is not the same image as this. Still kind of triangular in design, yes, still X-Wings at the bottom, but all the character placements and everything are different. So then we're going to open this up, get an exclusive item just from this set, and get our 3 slip-covered steelbooks. Again, they have a nice little ribbon here to help you get them all out. Pull the ribbon, pull the items out. The box is just empty on the inside there. We'll take a look at the exclusive item first, as an exclusive to this box that's not found with any of the individual releases of these steelbooks, regardless of which one you're looking at. And that is a little poster type thing here, similar to some of the ones, little cardboard foldouts that we saw with the different releases from Blufans of The Force Awakens that were in its one-click box. And there's a little plastic covering here to help keep it safe. So then you're going to peel that away. Reach inside here, and this is one of the biggest pains in the butt to actually put back, by the way, of any home video item I have ever seen in my life. You got your little card here. It's got a little band around it to hold it in place. The walker there goes around the other side to continue with the destroyer. TIE Fighters, Lucasfilm logo. It's got the Rogue One, A Star Wars Story logo at the bottom. But then the actual image with Lucasfilm down here has stormtroopers running on the beach there with the logo on one side, and on the other side, it's our heroes running in the opposite direction. I've seen this done as a banner at places like Best Buy as an advertisement where you've got a couple of these side by side so it looks like they're kind of running head first into a clash, almost like the end of the opening of the original X-Men 1990s cartoon. Now, I would note that is the only one that's in there this time around, and it's exclusive to that box. The last time, when we saw The Force Awakens, there was one of those for each. That is not the case this time. It is just the one. And thank goodness, after a few minutes here, thankfully cut out, I finally got it back in the packaging so that it doesn't look weird. As for the steelbooks, we will take a look here in the same order, I think, that we looked at the ones for The Force Awakens. We'll look at the full slipcover that is not lenticular, the single lenticular, then the double lenticular. This is your single lenticular. Now that should look familiar, right? Okay, the steelbook itself is a worldwide exclusive art steelbook. That doesn't mean that the slipcover is going to be worldwide exclusive art. So it looks like that limited cover version or limited slipcover version you could get in the UK that never had a US release. Here on the front, at least, it does feel a little fuzzy, which is a little bit different than that UK one. Kind of the same texture. This is embossed and a little bit of the same texture as the orange parts on BB-8 when we looked at the one for The Force Awakens. Top is blank, bottom is blank. There's your spine, Blu-ray 3D, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, Lucasfilm logo, and then there's that Blufans symbol that says BE, meaning Blufans Exclusive 41. And yes, this is all embossed as well, except for the Blu-ray 3D thing up at the top. And then the back, pretty cool looking. Not a scene actually out of the film, of course, but they're going through the hallway here. Kind of fuzzy feeling. I guess fuzzy's not the right word, but just different feeling for the characters there. The rest of it, all nice and slick. Lucasfilm logo down on the bottom. As for what is inside, once again, I have put something inside that was actually attached to the outside first. If you buy it just off a shelf, this would be what you'd see on the back. It would have all this stuff instead, which has all of your information about the region and everything. They are region ABC, so you can watch it in a US player, no problem. I have tried it. And this would be just essentially attached to the back of the packaging with a couple of little teeny tiny circular clear stickers or clear pieces of tape. Yes, I did take it off because this is where you're going to find your certificate of authenticity, and it lets this be protected by sticking it inside the slipcover with everything else. The other side is where you find out, oh, this is where my little certificate thing is. It says Blufans with the Blufans logo there in both English and Chinese, or blufans.com 41, because this is exclusive number 41. It says exclusive underneath. You open this up, and what you've got here, I do it very carefully, is a cool little scene with K2SO. But then you actually go over here and you can take K2SO off of it. Again, I would argue do it extremely, extremely carefully. And on the back of Live K2SO is your information there. You have your film logo, cast and crew, Blufans exclusive number 41, full slip edition as it's called, limited number 551 out of only 950 of this version. And then Lucasfilm logo down at the bottom. As was the case with The Force Awakens, each one has a nifty little bonus item inside. In this case, the folder here says Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, Lucasfilm logo here, nothing on the back. Inside this envelope, though, we have ourselves some art cards. We have the one we saw there as the back side of the packaging, the one we saw as the front side of the packaging, the one we saw there as a UK exclusive, but also the full slip edition cover. Okay, then we have this one, right? Kind of cool looking. And then we're back to the back one again. Each one on the back has a Death Star, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, and a Lucasfilm logo at the bottom. And because I stuck them inside that little envelope, I guess it's time to point out that, yes, once again, you got your little Disney holograms, noting the authenticity here, that say PRC for People's Republic of China up in the corner, have the Disney symbol, and gives you your individual product number. Each of those has that on the shrink wrap. The shrink wrap of the bigger case, the one-click box, has this little sticker on it that says Blufans Exclusive Steelbook on it. And then each of the individual releases, starting with this one, also on their shrink wrap, will have some type of image there that also says Blufans Exclusive Steelbook. I tend to keep these for right now, mainly because I want to make sure I get pictures of them for the next edition of A Saga on Home Video, but also because they're just a cool part of what's unique about this packaging. But come on, Nate, for the love of the Force, where's the actual Steelbook? How is it different artwork? You're going to dig this. I actually really like this Steelbook design compared to the Steelbook design that we got elsewhere in the world. Elsewhere in the world, it was, oh, look, it's Death Troopers on the beach, and oh, look, it's Stormtroopers on the back on the beach, and just wasn't really dynamic to me. Well, here's what the Blufans World Exclusive Art Steelbook looks like. Ooh, much, much nicer, in my opinion here. Okay, so we have our art here. Before you ask, no, it is not the same art as that other art card, though they do look similar. But you got your poster-style image here with Rogue One, A Star Wars Story embossed down here. A little bit of embossing to sort of make a frame around it. The back, Death Star, troops on the beach, etc., etc. And then your spine, Blu-ray 3D, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, Lucasfilm logo down here. None of this is embossed. And then, what's in the box? Or in this case, what's in the Blu-ray case? We've got a 3D copy of the film, similar style of label there as what we got in the US. Rogue One, A Star Wars Story 3D. We've got the Dolby Digital and region and Lucasfilm items there to what is your left here. And then down at the bottom, we have the Blu-ray 3D symbol there. It says, plays in Blu-ray 3D player only. And then you have your legalese and product information down there at the bottom. As for the movie disc, also similar to the one we got in the US, Rogue One: A Star Wars Story, Blu-ray and Lucasfilm logos there on your left, the Dolby Digital and region symbols there for ABC there on your right. Down at the bottom, your legalese there in, oddly enough, English in both cases. There's no actual Chinese text on either the regular Blu-ray or the 3D Blu-ray versions of the film for these sets. As for the inside of the Steelbook, them running, right? You have Chirrut, Baze, Jyn, and you can just barely see over here, that's really kind of a weird-looking Cassian. I guess it's Cassian? It almost looks like somebody's doing some kind of cameo or like body double thing as Cassian there, as opposed to actually looking like Cassian, but whatever. Nature, Walker, Death Star, some TIE fighters in the background. Once again, though, just like with The Force Awakens, you'll notice there's spots for 3 discs, but it only includes 2. Only the double lenticular will include the bonus disc. The full slip version and single lenticular will have the 3D version of the film and the regular version of the film, but no bonus disc. So again, that is the so-called full slip version. Nothing lenticular, but the Blufans World Exclusive Art Steelbook inside it, along with some bonus items. Next up, the single lenticular edition, also in the box, of course. I love the lenticular covers on Rogue One. I think they are much more dynamic than what we got with The Force Awakens. But check it out. I'm going to try to make it appear for you here with the camera. Has Rogue One: A Star Wars Story, Death Star and stuff behind it. There's Jyn, Chirrut, and Cassian. Right? It switches between those 3 characters. Pretty sweet. And you notice there, it's not exactly the same artwork as we saw for the art cards at Target, because particularly in the cases of Chirrut and Cassian, it's just those 2 characters rather than them being in a shot of a pair. Even the Jyn one isn't quite the same because she's turned at a slightly different angle than the Target art card. Now again, it's just lenticular on one side. The other side is just some nice art here. It does have a weird kind of feel to the parts of the helmet other than the very top of the helmet there. You've got your Imperials in the background there with the helmet. Right, we saw this as a poster image. Lucasfilm logo down at the bottom. And then your spine here. Again, a little bit of embossing here to the Rogue One part. And the Blufans thing at the bottom. But we got Blu-ray 3D, Rogue One: A Star Wars Story, Lucasfilm logo, Blufans, BE, Blufans Exclusive 41 yet again. And then inside, once again, if you had bought this and got it off a shelf somewhere, this would have been what you would see on the back because it'd be taped with those little circular stickers onto the back. So we have, again, similar image here, just with all of our tech details at the bottom. This is where our certificate of authenticity will be. So once again, similar design. On the inside this time, we don't really have a bunch of other droids that we could use. So instead, it is a scene with a Death Trooper. And the Death Trooper himself is our limited edition certificate of authenticity, telling us this is limited number 551, because again, in these box sets, the numbers match, of again, only 950 of this version produced. Once again, cool little bonus item inside, this time also in an envelope, only in this case they went for the reverse color scheme here, so we got white on black, got the logo there for both the film and Lucasfilm, nothing on the back. You open it up and pull them out, and we got some more cool little art cards. We've got Chirrut, we've got Jyn, we've got Krennic, we got Cassian, we've got K2SO, we've got Baze, we've got Bodhi, we got Saw, and now we're back to Chirrut. So quite a few in this case for all the major characters. In this case, the back design is the Death Star amid the clouds, and then the Lucasfilm logo at the bottom. As for the Steelbook is the same. Same one as we just saw. As for what is inside it, the same. So again, that is the single lenticular. One lenticular side, the other side not lenticular. The last one is the one that is sort of the premiere version, or the premium version of the 3, in that it is double lenticular and finally gives us that bonus disc that's missing from the other 2. Again, the same pattern we saw with The Force Awakens. And I actually think that as awesome as the lenticular cover is on the single lenticular version, I really think this one has it beat. I love the whole changing between the 3 characters, but this one, it's pretty. It's pretty. It reminds me, I don't even know what movie it is or TV show it is or commercial it is, but from maybe the late 80s, early 90s, there's this sound that I sometimes can hear in my imagination that pops back up from some TV show years ago, which just says, "It's pretty! It's so pretty!" I have no idea what it is. Maybe somebody can tell me. But that's what I think when I think of this box set, but specifically this double lenticular version. That is this. It's hard to really tell here. I'm trying to show you. But you got this lenticular shot of cover art here with the Death Star behind them, and then there's your troops from Rogue One, Imperial troops and ships and such down on the bottom. Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. This is one lenticular side. And remember, I showed you that DVD cover from the US. There was a reason. Here's the other side. A lenticular 3D feeling version of that type of cover art here. Really nice. It's cool to see a different take on that. And I do really like this image here. Again, not sure if that beats the previous one, the single lenticular, but it's pretty close if not. Then your spine, Blu-ray 3D, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, Lucasfilm logo, Blufans. You go across, you're embossed for the title, you're embossed for the little circle, you're not embossed for Lucasfilm logo or Blu-ray 3D, which is pretty much the same across the board. This one's a little bit different here, as we'll see. But again, if you had bought this off the shelf, there's your back. It's going to have all your information held on with a couple of stickers. Looks the same when you turn it over as the folder for your certificate of authenticity, or whatever you want to call it. In this case, we will open it up, and just like we had the Death Trooper, now we have a scene with a Stormtrooper. The Stormtrooper himself is our certificate of authenticity. We take him out, we turn him over, and we find out that this is, again, number 551 of 1,500 made of the double lenticular version. So that double lenticular version has 550 more of it out there than either the full slip or singular lenticular version. It's the more widespread one. But then you go down even further beyond that, just 950 for the other two, to an even more limited number, a number I don't know, I've never heard it, of how many were actually put in matched sets and put into the one-click boxes. Then this time, instead of having a folder with art cards, we have a little art booklet, kind of like we got a couple of times with The Force Awakens. So Rogue One there with the troopers on the back too, nothing on the spine, but it's just pictures here from the film. Then once more, the WEA Steelbook, but this time, yes, we've got our regular and 3D versions of the film, but we also have the bonus disc. What I find interesting here is that the bonus disc art looks nothing like the bonus disc art in other regions. You got basically what is the Blu-ray cover art from the US and the regular version in the UK here, and then all kinds of other information on here, most of which is in Chinese, but all the content on it is the same as the regular bonus disc that you could get in other regions. The only thing different is really the language choices on this disc or the 3D disc or the regular film disc. But man, that logo, that disc art, is very, very different. So we got the image there. It's hard to see all the stuff that's on it, so I'm going to try to just read it to you as best I can. You have Blu-ray symbol, Lucasfilm, and then a symbol for the company Broadtech, which is distributing apparently this disc. Underneath, looks like it's Chinese, but then it says Pacific Audio and Video Company. Then it says bonus disc over here, for some reason in English. And then it's got the regional logo there for Rogue One instead of the English version of it. Your legalese going around it, except, of course, in the case of numbers, or at the bottom is all in Chinese. The bottom says distributed by Broadtech, copyright 2017, and trademark Lucasfilm Limited. Down there. So effectively what you got here is a mixture of languages there on the label, but a label that is very different than the label that we saw for the more standard bonus disc available in other regions. Why did they change it? I can't say. People just like it better that way. Sorry. Different region we're talking about there. Some really nice steelbooks with some really nice little extras all in a very pretty box. Again, you can get these from China, but they're sold only within China, so you'll need a broker to be able to get it outside of China. In my case, I went through a broker in both this case and for The Force Awakens who had managed to get their hands on it or pre-order it, and they were in the UK, who then sent it over to me. In this case, I was waiting because at the time that I bought it, it was just a pre-order. We were waiting on it to get from the Chinese broker for the broker to the broker in the UK, who then sent it on to me. Hence it finally arriving today and finally getting a chance to highlight it on the show. Again, it's double lenticular, single lenticular, full slip, and one click. That's how these are known if you happen to be looking for them yourself. Gotta be honest, this is one of the more expensive releases I've been able to add to my Star Wars home video library, and I'm really glad that it holds up as something really, really nice to look at as a display piece. Don't get me wrong, really cool to have the one for The Force Awakens. Also, it just doesn't look as good on the shelf. This one is eye-catching. That one is more, hey, why is it a box? Which isn't nearly as interesting, at least to me. With that, we'll wrap up this episode. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with the home video viewers.